Shalom. Call Allah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Achak Wadash. Peace and double honor to the apostles, elders of Great Millstone. Shalom unto the elect. Want to get into this through the spirit and power Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, another lesson of going into prophecy, current events, observations that brothers are making. Okay, and right here, all right, you have Wall Street crash of 1929, which began the Great Depression. Okay, now Spirit actually jumped on me because I wasn't even aware about Black Tuesday until I thought about the implications of what's coming up this week. Today's date is October 12th. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's October 12th. Sunday, October 12th, 2025. All right, and observing how things are going, I was looking at some headlines of people that lost millions of dollars. A lot of people killed themselves this past week due to the crashes on the markets, slaughter on the markets. A lot of guys lost a lot of money. There's some particular, his good dude was a crypto big money guy, and they found him dead in his Lambo. And that's just one of many. Apparently a lot of people off themselves just this week alone. Yeah, and I don't need to look at the statistics. I'll tell you right now, most of them were Edomites. Okay, because Edomites, they're not built to deal with the type of things that Jake deals with. All right, they can't walk you can't walk a mile in our shoes, man. All right, because we don't look, especially us brothers being in the truth. If money comes, money goes. Apostle Paul said, "Know how to abound and know how to abase." So if we up or we down, as long as the Lord's with us, we're going to keep enduring. Lord's will. All right, but going into this, all right, I was thinking about it based off that crash, and this government shutdown doesn't show any signs of letting up. A lot of people losing jobs, bleak outlook, a very bleak outlook. And excuse me, I was looking at, because I said, well, Monday is going to hit the markets, but then I realized tomorrow, I believe, is Columbus Day, which is a actual bank holiday. Okay, which Columbus was a damn devil. All right, but America loves devilish things, right? All right, so I was thinking, like, man, that's going to be like a potential Black Tuesday situation where they're saying the markets might drop this week, and we'll see what happens. We're going to keep monitoring it. All right, we got our finger on the pulse of what's going on through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. But this is eerily similar to what happened in the 1929 crash, which I'm gonna read right here. Okay, the Wall Street crash of 1929, also known as the Great Crash, was a sudden and severe decline in stock prices that began in late October 1929, culminating on Black Tuesday, October 29th. So, interestingly enough, it happened in October 1929. All right, October is a very dark month, typically for enchantments and things like that. We know it's Halloween, which is Samhain. Different wicked, they like to go into these enchantments in the wintertime. They like winter better than summer. Okay, because there's less sunlight. People are already prone to getting sick. Some people deal with seasonal depression. So they go ahead, and a lot of that shit is tied to witchcraft as well. All right. It says culminating on Black Tuesday, October 29th. Caused by factors like rampant speculation, buying stocks on margin, and overvalued companies, which a lot of those same things are happening now. Okay. Crash led to panic selling, massive financial loss for investors, and the failure of thousands of banks. This event marked the beginning of the Great Depression. Well, it seemed like they're ready to do the Great Reset. Okay. um, we know that they're moving to do that. Okay, and this might be the perfect setup for them to just go ahead and do it. All right. Public opinion on the small hats is at all time low. They're in the corner. They're being questioned about their whole identity and existence. All right. The prophets are got a foot on their neck. Okay, which is us. All right. Lord's will we endure to the end, starting from our apostles on down. All right. We've been calling these people out, exposing what they're doing. All right. Other people are exposing what they're doing. Okay. But this led to what? It says this event marked the beginning of the Great Depression, a decade of severe economic hardship in the United States. Now, the thing is, when there was that depression, the way that they bounced out of it was war. Okay, because if you look at this graph here, it started going back up after the 40s, after World War II. World War II is what brought them out of that ditch. Okay, and we know World War III is coming right up. All right, the pieces are already lining up. China's talking their shit. They talking about they're gonna take Taiwan when they see the opportunity. Nero Trump 47 is going wild, talking about taking out Venezuela, which Venezuela is a proxy for the opposite powers to America. All right, which is Russia, China. Okay, they're closely allied with them, of course. So there's just so many things going on, and I did want to get this. All right, I'm gonna get a couple precepts. All right, this is we just read about the great crash, right? So Zephaniah 1:10, and it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh, that there shall be a noise of a cry from the fish gate, and an howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. Howl, ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down. So this is dealing with economic woes. A great crashing from the hills, okay? A crash, okay? We just read that. It was called what? The Great Depression, okay? So the great crashing from the hills is talking about an economic downturn. And the 11th verse goes into it. All right, for all the merchant people are cut down. All they that bear silver are cut off. Okay, so this is dealing with merchants, people that dealt with trade back then. The same thing is happening now. And we can see that the woes are coming. All right. And that's why the Lord said to store your treasures in heaven. Okay, where moth nor rust doth to corrupt. Okay, don't store your treasures on earth, because all of this can fade away. In the devil's world, everything is temporary. His rulership is temporary. The riches that you can gain is temporary. You can be a billionaire and lose it all with how things are set up right now, especially with crypto and all this shit. And reading the 12th verse, and it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles. What is the candles? The prophets. All right, the brothers that have the truth. The Lord said, "You are the light of this world." A candle. Matter of fact, let's grab that too. All right, and I'm gonna jump back to this. I want to just bring this out. All right, it says Matthew 5:14, ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Right? Okay, so that the candles are the men of the Lord that have the truth. All right, the Lord is speaking to his disciples. All right, let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Yahushua was so humble, even though he has such immense power and was blessed and anointed in such a magnificent way, but yet he always gave the credit to the Father. All right, and hey, man, that's why we always praise Yahweh in the name Yahushua, right? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. It's a beautiful way the Lord set it up, man. The relationship between the Father and his Son. That's really the essence of the story of the scriptures. All right. A father and his son. All right. A family story. A love story. The Lord and his nation of people. All right. It's beautiful, man, how the Lord set this thing up. But again, let your light so shine before men. So the reason why the Lord has us out there is so that he can be glorified. All right. So that's going into those candles, right? So reading it again, so now you can understand better. Zephaniah 1 and 12, and it shall come to pass at that time. So this is at that time of that great crashing, right? When the inhabitants are being Maktesh, which is a market, a famous market of the ancient world. All right. Matter of fact, let me do this real quick. So just to expound on Maktesh, all right, what does it say? Biblical Maktesh location, a quarter or district in ancient Jerusalem, likely near the fish gate and second quarter. The Hebrew word Maktesh means mortar or mortar-shaped hollow. This led some to translate the name as mortar. And this is the point right here, prophecy. The prophet Zephaniah foretold that the commercial activities, all right, commerce, okay, because this is dealing with commerce, commercial activities in this district would cease and the inhabitants would howl, indicating what? Divine judgment. See that? So, that gives you the information right there, Maktesh. All right. So when these commercial activities is slowed down and cut to a halt, all right, at that time the Lord will do what? I said that I will search Jerusalem with candles, which is not just Jerusalem, all right, but in the spirit, it symbolizes his people. All right, Jerusalem represents the holy city, the Lord's people, and punish the men that are settled on their lees, that say in their heart, Yahweh will not do good, neither will he do evil. So what is that indicating? Well, the Lord is going to do something to show you that he is about that action. All right, it is time for thee to work, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, as it is written in Psalms. I believe it's the 119th chapter. All right. Matter of fact, let's look that up too. Let's see. Psalms 119 and 126, right? It is time for thee to work, Yahweh. It is time for thee, Yahweh, to work, for they have made void thy law. Okay. See, all into them commercial activities, commerce. Where the scripture says that sin lies between buying and selling, right? Let's see if I could find it, looking it up like that. In the Apocrypha. Yep, there it is. Sirach 27 and 2, as the nail sticketh fast between the joinings of the stones, so doth sin stick close between buying and selling, you see? So buying and selling is tied to sin, especially if it's done in a greedy fashion, because people, when they're into business, commerce, they'll do things that's unbecoming. They'll sacrifice their integrity in order to make a dollar, and that's where sin comes in. All right. Somebody that has a business, like a lot of Jakes in the ancient times, I think Isaiah rebuked Israel at one point for doing this, where they were having their people, they were having their employees work on the Sabbath or work on days where they're supposed to be fasting, like the Day of Atonement, or resting. All right, they exact their all of their labor, so that, but they themselves will not work. But then they'll have their workers working on the day, so they'll make it so that they themselves can keep the day and think that they're better than somebody else and holier than thou. But yet they'll have their workers do it. So that's how sin sticks close between buying and selling. That's just one example. All right. And yep, there you have it. So when you look at it up, hey man, AI is a good tool, man, that the Lord gave us. You know, you use it the right way. It says, Sirach 27 and 2 illustrates how sin, particularly dishonesty and commerce, is deeply entrenched and difficult to remove. The verse uses the metaphor of a tent peg hammer into a wall, where sin is the tightly wedged peg that is stuck fast between the joint of selling and buying. Like a peg that is nearly impossible to pull out once it is driven between stones, sin is hard to dislodge once it takes hold in the context of business and financial transactions. And again, This whole system is predicated on wicked financial practices, all right? Usury, ridiculous interests. I know people that have been put in a very bad position based off of criminal levels of interest that was placed upon them, all right, by banks and different institutions that took advantage, man. All right. Now we know the borrower is subject to the lender, all right. That's a part of the curses, but at the same time, these people take it above and beyond. All right. So that is one way that it's all tied in. All right. So now you have this financial system that's all based off of debt and interest and wickedness, man, and greed. So how is it ever going to stand? It's not. Okay. And it's not designed to. It's designed to fuck the little guy. All right. The ones that's on the bottom. Somebody gets left, with a empty wallet. All right. Somebody gets left, in a bad predicament at the end of it. Okay. So you're going to have these things popping off, and things like, Black Tuesday. All right. We're going to see. All right. But this is being floated around and spoken of. Meanwhile, you have chariot sightings. They're talking about the three atlas, three-eye atlas, however they say it. All right. Talking about whether that's an alien mothership or whatever it is, we know that the chariots are out there, and that very well could be a chariot, or it could be, maybe the fathership getting ready to come. But we can't say for a fact of whether it is or not. But what we can do is measure the time diligently. All right. We don't need to go look out and see. We can see the signs all around us, which the Lord warned us of, that will show that our redemption is drawing nigh. All right. So that we can rejoice. All right. But there's going to be these economic downturns are coming, and we've already been in depression, market right now. Depression like economic conditions. Now, they said the beef prices are soaring out of control. Now, I went to the store recently, and a regular old steak that normally will cost like maybe $10-15 tops is like $20-25. And that's a good way. You can get a lot of nutrition out of just having a steak. I remember growing up, we used to have steak. It was a lot easier to come across. Nowadays, that's more like a delicacy. Because what did Klaus Schwab, that devil, what did he say? You will eat the bugs. You will eat the bugs. All right, and that's their plan for the masses of the people. You're gonna be chipped up. All right. You're going to have the MOTB. All right. You're going to be a slave to them on the highest level possible, because that's the ultimate way of bowing down and becoming their slave forever. All right. Getting that digital all. All right. Which is going to be by the way of a device, an implantable device. All right. That they're going to have you on the bugs. All right. They're going to have you on a vegetarian diet. Okay. And it's not going to be lawful vegetarian. They're going to be feeding you all types of shit that you shouldn't be eating. All right. That's really not meant for food. All right. And they're going to just give it to you. Lab made Franken food. All right. Destroying you. Okay. And that's the utopia that they have. And people actually see these commercials and different things and they believe it. But we know the reality is grim. Okay. It's a grim reality. But that's why we have faith and hope in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua that we're going to get up out of here. All right. And Yahushua is going to come back soon to get us, man. So all these things is going to lead to what? Famine. All right. A lot of destruction. Women are losing their benefits. Hey, man, it's going down. Everything is happening. All the prophecies are coming. All the prophecies are popping off at once. It's like, what more do you need to see? All right. What more do you need to experience? I'm going to just go ahead and grab this. Matthew 16:1. The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came, and tempting desired him that he would shew them a sign from heaven. He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, ye say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but can ye not discern the signs of the times? And I might bring this scripture out every other day. And if I brought it out every day, hey, it wouldn't be nothing wrong with that, because it's true every single time. All right? You might get sick of it, how often we bring it out. We don't get sick of it, because this is like breathing to us. I don't get sick of breathing. I don't get sick of eating food. I don't get sick of drinking water. I don't get sick about bringing this scripture out. All right? I don't get sick of prophesying. All right? We don't get sick of it because it's built in us. It's innate. All right? Just like your cells, they don't get sick of making energy. All right? Your mitochondria and all that stuff. I'm not no scientific brother, but I know a couple things about the body. All right? Your brain don't get sick of firing neurons, okay, of the neurons firing off, right? Your lungs don't get sick of breathing. Well, we don't get sick of bringing these prophecies out, man. And we could tell from the signs of the times where we at. And it's going down, all right? So if this pops off on this Tuesday and this government shutdown is still in place and you got people that are not getting paid and prices are going up, you got what you got right now is a perfect storm. Okay, and it's spiritual, because now you got a storm, a nor'easter coming through the tri-state right now. All right, which, hey, if it were to be a situation where the temperature dropped, like if this was a couple months more into the season where it's colder, this would have been a blizzard. So we may very well have some blizzards this year. I mean, we due for some big time snow, but we'll see what happens, So there's a lot of judgment going on, especially if they cut the lights. It's gonna be all out pandemonium. All right. So then, meanwhile, Babylon's enemies are advancing. Okay. So hey, it's a lot to cover, man, and that's why you can see now why we need multiple brothers on this job, on their watch, because there's so much going on that we could miss it if it was just one brother or a couple of us. It would be hard to keep up. But there's so many brothers out there that all the bases are covered. So there's a lot of watchmen watching out. All right, this is a spiritual buffet. So get it while it's hot. Thank the Lord for being able to partake in it, which we all should. All right, and continue to strive for this truth, man, because we almost up out of here. Yahweh Shai could be back any day now. All right, we just need these prophecies to go full force. All right, and they're getting there. So with that, all praise, glory, and honor be unto Yahweh Shem Yahshua B'Shem Chakudash. Shalom.